Should the Speaker voting aye? Should Mr. Longoria voting aye? Mr. Murr voting aye? Show Mr. Dutton voting present, not voting? Have all members voted? There have been 121 ayes and 23 nays, 2 present, not voting, 3 absent. The resolution is adopted.
Breaking news in just the last 15 minutes. A historic vote in the Texas House as representatives vote to impeach Attorney General Ken Paxton. I'm Nicole Nielsen in for Steve Pickett. This is CBS News Texas at 5. Certainly an historic day. Our political reporter Jack Fink was inside the House chamber when the vote was read. And of course, he joins us live to explain what has happened and what's next. Jack.
Well, Nicole, this really is a historic day in the Texas legislature because this is only the 3rd time in Texas history that a state official has been impeached. And so Ken Paxton is now suspended from his job as Attorney General immediately, pending the outcome of a trial in the Texas Senate where there has to be 2/3 of senators who vote to remove him. And so there was one thing that really stood out very early on in this impeachment process that began shortly after 1 o'clock today, and that was when State Representative Charlie Guerin of Fort Worth, one of the 5 members of the General Investigating Committee, announced on the House floor that Ken Paxton called some members of the House earlier in the week and threatened them. Let's take a listen.
And I would like to point out that several members of this House, while on the floor of this House doing the state business, received telephone calls from General Paxton personally, threatening them with political consequences in their next election.
We will begin that proceeding as soon as Mr. Murr is recognized.
As well as our House rules.
But in names, I emailed Paxton's office for a response, but I haven't heard back. Other members of the General Investigating Committee laid out their case, accusing the Attorney General.
And either this is going to be the beginning of the end of his criminal reign, or God help us with the harms that will come to all Texans if he is allowed to stay the top cop on the take.
Okay, so that was another member of the House General Investigating Committee, Ann Johnson, summing up her case. Now, I did email Ken Paxton's office for a response about the allegation that he called and threatened members of the House. I have not heard back. And other members of the General Investigating Committee today, when they were laying out their case for House members, they accused General Paxton of using his powers that the office gives him to basically benefit himself and a donor, one of his campaign donors. And on the other side of all this were the Republicans who decided that this process was unfair. They said that General Paxton should have had an opportunity to present his case. And so let's listen to those lawmakers.
Yeah, Jack, certainly, a lot to process in all of this. We do want to point out that Attorney General Ken Paxton actually just tweeted his statement calling what he witnessed illegal, unethical, and profoundly unjust. He says that he looks forward to a quick resolution in the Texas Senate where he has full confidence that the process will be fair and just. Jack, obviously there's going to be a lot to follow on this in the coming days, but what do we expect to come next?
Well, their Senate has 20 days now to have a trial. And so one of the last things that was mentioned here in the House chamber was that the governor is going to be notified, the lieutenant governor is going to be notified, and the Senate pro tem is going to be notified. And so this gives them notice. Now they have 20 days to set a trial. We'll have to wait and see when that trial is going to be. And, you know, Nicole, one of the interesting things here is that one of the members of the Texas Senate is Paxton's wife, Senator Angela Paxton, who serves McKinney and much of Collin County. Now, there's been a lot of questioning as to what is she going to do? Is she going to recuse herself? Or will she be disqualified by the lieutenant governor? We're waiting to find out. But one of the interesting things that the Texas Constitution says is it requires senators to be impartial and to take an oath. And so we'll see how that process plays out. But what General Paxton said in his comments just now tweeted is consistent with what he told everybody yesterday, to reporters yesterday when he went before the television cameras. He thought this process was an illegal impeachment scheme, and he thinks that the process will be more fair in the Senate. We shall see.
Yeah, that's certainly what he's saying still this afternoon. Jack, still a lot of questions remain. Thank you so much for that update. And by the way, Paxton faces 20 articles of impeachment. The first 5 involved what's called disregard of duty, from abuse of the open record process to misuse of official information. Articles 6 through 10 include accusations of disregard of official duty and termination of whistleblowers, as well as the state settlement agreement with the whistleblowers and constitutional bribery. Now, the third page of the articles involve obstruction of justice and false statements in official records. And the last page involves conspiracy and attempted conspiracy, along with misappropriation of public resources and abuse of public trust. And of course, we are staying on top of this breaking news story in our CBS News Texas app and cbsnewstexas.com. We'll bring you updates as we learn more about this pending Senate trial, as Jack mentioned. And of course, you can also read through the articles of impeachment and how the Texas impeachment process today worked on our website.